Water Affairs Minister Mokonyane is meeting civil society groups about the water crisis in Cape Town this afternoon. Senior reporter Annika Larson joins us now from Parliament. So Annika, the minister has arrived there as day zero looms. What do you have for us?
Good afternoon. The Minister is just about to address us. I'm going to step aside so that you can listen to her opening comments.
Good afternoon. My name is Mokonyane. I'm the Minister of Water and Sanitation in the Republic of South Africa. We are in the processes, as we have done across the country, to interact with civil society and various stakeholders on the work that has to do with the challenges of water security. The Western Cape is no exception. We're meeting now with civil society with an intention to reassure our people that we can only avoid day zero if all of us make a meaningful contribution, if all of us get the right information, and if all of us put the politics away and ensure that those that are responsible do ensure that the constitutional right for human consumption with regard to water is prioritized. And ensure, therefore, that those of us who have the responsibility of dealing with water demand management, we do our responsibility. And thirdly, to ensure, therefore, that those who are the bigger water users, like the irrigation sector, they themselves also come to the party. There is no substitute, there's no alternative source of water, except us protecting the little that we have and working together without pointing fingers and playing politics, but moving in a manner that makes everybody to buy in ensuring, therefore, that day zero is not realized, as we have succeeded in all other provinces, even the worst affected province, such as KwaZulu-Natal. We survived the storm only through partnership and the respect for one another.
Minister, it's Annika Larson here from ENCA. I think as Cape Townians, we are tired of the water wars, the blame game and the politicking. What can you do, Mama Action, to please help the Western Cape?
Sort out those that are at war. I'm not at war with anyone. We should be at war with any form of water loss, and that's why we're taking up these matters. We're here to interact with our communities, to engage them, and to reassure them that day zero is avoidable. That's the message. But
what are you actually going to do, Minister? How are you actually going to help us, apart from reassuring?
Already we have released 3 water use licenses within a period of 5 months, given the fact that the Western Cape has been declared a disaster area. We are dealing with the aquifers. We are reviewing the water use licenses for the wastewater treatment plants so that we can reuse. There are 4 things that we have to all focus on. It's around behavioral change, it's around the reuse of water, it's around the exploration of groundwater in a responsible manner. It is about compliance to the restrictions as they are being introduced, and it's to look at other alternatives such as desalination, as well as other methods that can help in reducing the levels of water leaks in some of our own areas. And these are the things that we have already done. Our programs that have to do with some of the schemes will be able to kick in not later than the month of May 2018. And those are some of the programs we've been doing with the city of Cape Town, collaborating with the executive mayor's team on the Water Resilience Committee, working together with organized labor in ensuring that we reassure the workers on what may happen in the interim with regard to the seasonal workers on farms and other farm workers, including the textile industry and any other sector that is affected, but also to reassure the unserved. Because in as much as we may talk about those that have had water, we must remember that we also must be sensitive on the unserved who have had day zero all along, that they must also be reassured that will give them the necessary attention, will provide the alternatives, as we have said, water tankering, dealing with the springs catchments that are there. We are talking to Coca-Cola and South African breweries. They don't own any water for bottling. It is the water that must be shared with the affected communities. We want We want the Western Cape provincial government to take responsibility on dealing with the issues of water demand management, because that is where the weakness is. The restrictions have not been adhered to. We need to look as to why the restrictions have not been adhered to. We need to also make sure that the designs and the studies on some of the alternatives, they are being looked at. And lastly, we need to make sure that our communication does not become a political communication. It must be a communication means that it's not a blame game, and I've not blamed anybody. I'm not here in the Western Cape to come and play politics. I'm very good at that game, but in this instance, we are a government that is here to reassure everyone. Day zero is avoidable.
Minister, last question.
So, if I may, please, ma'am. Seeing that the Western Cape was declared a disaster area in 2014, are you happy with the response that you have seen from both the provincial government as well as the city of Cape Town in terms of how they have responded to a crisis that has been long in coming?
The Premier of the Western Cape is on record to say there are things that they wouldn't do because they don't want to scare investors. And I think that was unfortunate. Secondly, the issues that had to do with demand management have also not been attended to in a coherent manner. The blame game and the game of politics has also compromised the Western Cape, because when we were dealing with all other provinces that are dependent on summer rains, this matter became a political football. But I think we don't want to get there. We want to reassure our people, black and white, informal settlement and your Bishop's Court and everyone, that the human consumption with regard to water is something that we are all concerned about. It is the municipality that is responsible for water reticulation. The Provincial Disaster Management Center has to act, and it must take responsibility. And if we have to be much more consistent, we must all play our game. It's not about the issue of building many dams. You can build many walls, concrete and brick and mortar. If there's no rain, that becomes the problem. The best intervention is to manage water demand. And that's where we want everybody, hence we're mobilizing everyone to say, let's manage the way we use water. We can go beyond what is perceived to be day zero.
And then just lastly from me, ma'am, just as a department, is it not a little bit too late now for National to be stepping in and trying to solve out this issue when we have known about it since about 2015?
In fact, it will be wrong to say we're stepping in now. There's a lot of work that we have done, and hence we're quite certain that some of the projects that are under construction and are on implementation will kick in the latest around May 2018. Not because they started today, because if we start today, they wouldn't be realizable in 2018. There's work that we are doing. What we really would plead is that in the spirit of cooperative governance, take politics away. Take politics away, allow this matter to be attended to, and let's not also have interventions that show biasness to those who can speak out and can be heard, and forget that there are those who are as yet to be served. And as I can say, we've long been on the ground. We're doing our bit. We've gone an extra mile. We have waived some of the demands on environmental impact, even on accelerating performance. We're going out to mobilize additional resources for the Berg Refir, so that then it must also come in. But we're even looking at beyond the crisis, so that water security, not just availability of infrastructure, water security become a norm.
Minister, when were we declared an emergency area?
Ask Helen Zille.
And I'm asking you, Minister.
It's more than 2 years.
Wow. Can you just take us into your confidence and be very frank with us, because residents feel as if nobody has been frank with them. How bad is the situation? Please.
We're not in the best of the situation. Day zero can be avoided if water demand management can be attended to. It doesn't help that people can transgress and they'll be comfortable that they can afford to pay. Those who have swimming pools, irrigation, as well as sprinklers and everything, they must comply. And I think that's where we must emphasize the issue of compliance. Those that have had excessive use of water. Please remember, that's not you only. Let's stick to what is now possible for all of us to live with it. And the city and the province, through its Provincial Disaster Management Center, must get its act together. We are on a path of giving hope to our people. Yes, let's remember, there's no substitute for water. If we change our behavior, we can even move beyond what is being said to be day zero. It's avoidable. And I think the Western Cape, with the availability of possibilities of desalination, with the groundwater, as well as with the reuse, it can even be turned around, and it will be turned around faster, as we have already shown, compared to what happened in KwaZulu-Natal, where 7 rivers ran dry. And I really want to urge South Africans that through the National Disaster Management Center, we will be presenting an integrated report on the agricultural sector, on the water security, on the enforcement of the laws, on the issues of trade, and on the issues of development. And we must give the people of the Western Cape that message. We're here to intervene, but we need one another. We've been doing our bit. What we expect is for every sphere of government to move away from playing politics, but play the responsibility of making sure that the constitutional rights of the people of South Africa located in the Western Cape are actually satisfied.
Thank you.
Thank you, Minister.
Minister.